So, you're new to Dungeons and Dragons, and you're a little bit overwhelmed. Don't worry, we've all been there. Well, today in this video, I'm going to walk you through the very basics of Dungeons and Dragons. Now that's playing the game, what it's about, and even just kind of talk to you about how easy it is to learn. So don't go anywhere, because by the end of the video, you're going to have a better understanding of what Dungeons and Dragons is, what you as a new player need to play it, and I might even give you a few sneaky little tips in there as well. So stick around. Ready? Let's go. Firstly, what is Dungeons and Dragons? Well, Dungeons and Dragons, or D&D, is a tabletop role-playing game where you and a group of friends will gather around a table, create some characters, and embark on a quest through a fantasy world. One person will be the Dungeon Master. Now, the Dungeon Master guides the story and controls the world. And you, as a player, just control what your character can do. To get started, you're going to need a few things. The player's handbook, a character sheet, some dice, and some friends. The player's handbook is your go-to guide for creating your character. It holds a lot of information about races, classes, abilities, and even the mechanics of the game. Think of it as your ultimate guide to playing Dungeons and Dragons. Dice are essential in D&D. No more so than this guy, the 20-sided die, or D20. You'll use this to determine the outcome of your actions. For example, you'll decide to attack an enemy. You'll roll the 20-sided die, add a ability modifier or a attack modifier to that roll, and if the result beats the armor class of the monster, you'll hit. But that's not all. There's plenty more dice in D&D. There's the 4-sided die, 6-sided, 8-sided, 10-sided, 12, and even a 100-sided die. Now, they're all D4, 6, 8, 10, 12 respectively, and you'll use these for a lot of other things, such as rolling for hit points, dealing damage, and controlling other elements of the story. Now let's talk characters. Creating a character is one of the most fun things to do in D&D. You decide on their race, their class, their background, and their abilities. Are you a mighty human warrior, a cunning elven rogue, or a wise dwarven cleric? The possibilities are endless. Now, once you've decided on your race, class, background, and abilities, you have to record them on your character sheet. The player's handbook will guide you through how to create this character from start to finish, leaving no stone unturned and making sure that you create the most unique character that you had in your mind. Now, if you're a little bit like me and you don't like the pen and paper approach, there are some online resources like D&D Beyond. Now, D&D Beyond has this character creation platform on there which steps you through it one step at a time to build your character, and then at the end provides you with a digital character sheet. So if you're playing remotely with friends, that would be the resource I would recommend. So you've got your dice, you've created your character, and you have your character sheet in front of you. Now it's time to play Dungeons and Dragons. What typically happens is the Dungeon Master will set a scene describing the world around you and a particular event. You as the player will then determine what your character would like to do in response to that. Whenever you attempt to do something where the result is a little bit uncertain, the Dungeon Master will ask you to roll a dice, and the number that is displayed, plus whatever modifiers you have, will then determine the outcome. What happens next is the Dungeon Master will just narrate the result. For example, the Dungeon Master might say, you find yourself in a dark cave and you just hear the dripping of water into a pool somewhere off in the darkened distance. What do? You as the player might decide, I light a torch and proceed cautiously. And what will happen is as you continue playing, you're weaving this intricate story where the only limitation of where it goes is your own creativity. Combat is a big part of D&D. You'll encounter enemies, Roll for initiative to determine the turn order, and on your turn, you can attack, cast spells, use special abilities. The DM controls the monsters, and you control your player, making it dynamic and fast-paced.
What? What the f?
But let's break that down a little bit. So you roll for initiative. What is initiative? Well, effectively you roll a 20-sided die, you add a modifier, and then the highest number in there, around the table, would go first, and it would then proceed and descend in order. So the person that rolls the highest acts first. On your turn, you have a range of options. Typically, they're broken down into 3 categories. You have movement, allowing you to move a certain distance based on your character's walking speed. You then have an action. Now, an action could be an attack, a special ability, a casting a spell, or there are other options in there, such as dodge and hide and help. But that is based on your character's abilities and background. Then you have a bonus action, a little extra ability that you can throw in at the end of your turn. For example, if you're a mighty warrior and a fighter class, you might charge in with your movement, attack with your greatsword for your action, and then because you've been hit earlier in combat, you could heal yourself a little bit with your bonus action. If you're a wizard, you could decide to stay back a little bit and cast spells from a distance using your action. The possibilities are endless, but these are all really based around the class, the race, and the background that you chose when creating your character. These will determine the abilities that you have within the game. So choose carefully, because the choices you make at the start can determine where your character goes in the end. But most importantly, and here's the kicker, D&D is just about having fun. You don't need to know all of the rules at first. You can break it down into little chunks, get the basics from today's video, and build on them. And that's exactly what we're going to do on this channel, because the next few videos that I post are going to be about how to create a character, how combat works in D&D, and more. So if you like that, hit like, subscribe, and ding that notification bell, because there's going to be more of this content. But I really mean that. D&D is just about having fun, and everyone starts at the beginning. Even me. When I first started venturing into this game 5 years ago, I knew nothing at all. And really, I still don't know everything. But I got around a table, I rolled some dice, and I found that the more and more I played, the more I learned. There is also valuable online resources for learning this game, most of which are free. You're on one now. There's plenty of videos and plenty of resources out there if you want to learn this game. But the best way to learn is by playing. D&D is more than just rolling dice though, and rules. It's about embarking on an epic story with people that you care about, your friends. You spend hours at the table, and by the end of a campaign, you've truly told a story that is unique to you and your friends. Embrace your character. Maybe they have a mysterious past, or maybe there is a little bit of intrigue there that you want to develop over time. You're free to do so. Throw yourself into your character, and the more you play, the more you'll learn about them as well, because the impact of the world on them is just as important as you having an impact on the world. Also, don't be afraid to ask questions. Your Dungeon Master is there for a reason. If you don't know a particular rule, there is nothing to say you can't just stop the game, get the rule book out, have a quick read, close it, and continue. Remember, everybody starts as a beginner. Even seasoned veterans and people brand new to the game all learn things as they go. It's about having fun and making the game your own. Well, that's it for this beginner's guide. I hope you found that useful. If you did, hit like, drop me a comment below as to what you did find useful. And like I said, you can ask questions. If there's something from this video you want more information of and you want me to create another video on something else entirely, then drop a comment below and tell me what that is, because I want to help you guys out. We hope that this has given you a good starting point for your D&D adventures. For more information, check the Player's Handbook out, drop a follow on this channel. The world of Dungeons & Dragons is a big and mighty place. Whether you're a fierce warrior or a cunning rogue, there is a place for you in the story. So get around the table, roll some dice, create a character, and see where this adventure can get you. Take care.